Be careful who you surround yourself with. It's a sentence that I've heard many times. People talk about it a lot, but I don't think that everybody quite listens to it. It's going to be the topic of the video we talk about today. I think that it's super important to have people around you and to not completely isolate yourself. I've been in a spot kind of like that where I kind of isolated myself, and it was definitely not a good spot. I do think that loneliness can help us out a little bit, but completely isolating yourself is just, it's usually not a good idea. For example, some people say that they would be better off alone, and I highly disagree with that statement. I think that it is important to have a circle around you that loves you and cares for you. Something that humans thrive on is connection, having connections with other people. People can offer us different perspectives. They can show us things, ways, different ways of thinking that we never even came across. Like if you have a problem, like I'm sure most of us have that person that we go to, and they're just good at offering you a second solution, a different way of looking at it than you would have ever came up with. And overall, just having people around us can boost our mood. Like I know there are people that when I'm around, I'm just in a better mood. Like my best friends, like when I'm around them, I can just enjoy things that I wouldn't usually enjoy. But unfortunately, not everyone has our best interests in mind, and that is where things get tricky, because it's like, how do you know who really has your best interests in mind? How do I know who really loves me and cares for me and all of that? Especially when in the past you have had bad experiences with getting close to people, it can be super easy to say, yeah, I'd be better off alone, or just shut down around other people and just refuse to get close to people. I could totally understand that. So how do you know if you can really trust someone or not? And it's a good question. It's one that it's very hard to give an answer to, because I think that regardless of how well you truly know someone, one instance can break a relationship. It can change everything. It could be a person that you trusted for years, and then something happens and then they just completely break your trust. Because at the end of the day, you never really know what someone thinks about you. Of course, you can observe what you think their view is, you know, how they're treating you, what they do for you. But even then, some people are manipulative and try to take advantage of you. So you never really know for 100% somebody's motives. Learning if you can trust someone is usually a pretty long process, especially if you have trust issues, if you had bad experiences in your past. It's gonna take you a little longer to trust somebody. Whereas maybe somebody else that doesn't have a lot of trust issues, they'll trust somebody like that. But like I mentioned earlier, even if you thought you could trust that person, it can disappear in an instant. I had a friendship that lasted for about 5 years. It was when I moved here when I was a little younger, and I would have called him my best friend that I had here for almost 5 years. And this past couple weeks, we went somewhere together. I came back, there was a disagreement, and that was it. Like my trust was broken, and to be honest, I have no desire to have that relationship anymore. I feel like we've both seen each other, you know, for true colors, I guess, and I don't want anything to do with him. But that story overall is, it's a wild story. It's it still doesn't feel completely real, but it happens. Like it literally can happen in one day that fast, and it's just wild, man. Moving on to my next point, it's important to establish what you want your circle to look like. If you could imagine, like, what kind of people do you want around you? Have you ever heard the saying that you are who you hang around? I don't agree with this statement 100%, but there is definitely some sentiment to it. I think that the people you spend the most time around, you will pick up at the least, you will pick up small things that they do and copy them. I think that with this specific thing, it really depends on how much self-confidence you have and how grounded in yourself you are. For example, if you're not very grounded in yourself and things are kind of wishy-washy for you, like you're not really sure what you believe, it can be really easy to be swayed by others' actions and things that you wouldn't usually do. You see this group doing it and these are your friends, so you're gonna go do that now. So I would say if you do have a circle around you, take a look at it. Are they positive and uplifting, or are they negative, kind of bring everybody down, gossip about everything, anyone? Really evaluate the people around you and ask yourself, is this really the people that I want around me? So this whole time I thought I've been recording with my AirPod, but apparently not, because I'm pretty sure I've just had this in for no reason and that my phone is actually recording this. But anyways, to get back on point, negativity is a germ, and it certainly spreads, and if you're not careful, it can spread to you. Ideally, the people that we want around us are positive people, people that will affirm us, you know, encourage you to chase your dreams, be the best version of yourself, not people that would bring you down. I have had to evaluate my own circle in the past. There was a point where I just kind of looked at my circle and I was like, there are some people in this that I just really don't want to be associated with, and I'm really just not even that crazy about. I don't even really like want to stay in this. So I walked away from the entire circle, and that was hard. I was lonely for a good bit of that. And eventually, you know, the true friends out of that circle, we rebuilded the bond and all of that. But I do not speak to those people that I cut off from. But for example, one of the guys in that friendship, the one that I actually cut ties with, he openly told me he did not like one of the other guys in the group, and told me some of the things that that guy would say to him, constantly like degrading him and that kind of thing. And I get that, you know, at the end of the day, some people joke around and stuff like that. Like even that, like if I really like you, I'll say some jokes. I'm not trying to be soft or anything like that, but genuine negative, I didn't speak English right there. Genuine negativity. And I remember telling him, I was like, bro, so why are you still friends with this guy? Because they would be like, they would act like nothing happened. They would fight and just continue to act like nothing happened. They just swept everything under the rug. And to me, it just seemed like there was a lot of unresolved feelings in this situation. But I ended up separating myself from these people, and I never looked back, and I do not regret it in the slightest. One of the biggest battles that I fight with choosing my circle and people that I want around me is my Christianity. It has been insanely hard to find people that believe the same way that I do, that are also Christians like me. And I'm not one of those people that think every person you have to be friends with has to be a Christian. I don't think that. I think that it is cool to get other people's perspectives and views. And you know, most importantly, I try to be a light to those people that aren't Christians in my friend group. Be there for them in any way that I can, and just shine Jesus' light on them. But if you just look around, like I'll see stuff on TikTok and YouTube and things like that talking about kind of this video topic about being careful who you surround yourself with, and that if you're like, I'd see like some Christians say, if you hang around non-believers, that's what you're going to become and all of that. And that is a little crazy statement. I really hope you guys can't hear that AC, and there is an ant on my phone. But it really made me second guess myself. But I just had to be like, look, yeah, my friends do things that I don't approve of, but I'm not doing it. I try to be a light to them. You know, maybe I do crack an inappropriate joke every now and then, but that really is the extent of it. And I know that I am genuinely trying to be a light and a positive impact to these people's lives. In my opinion, I think the time that you should be worried, if you are a Christian, if you're relating to what I'm saying right now, and you have friends that are unbelievers, and you're worried about them pulling you down or something, I would say when you need to be worried is if you're joining in on the same things that you know are wrong. If on Friday nights they all go out and get drunk or party and all of that, and you've been doing it, then you need to set a boundary. And this is where boundaries are important. And this can apply to even if you're not a Christian. I think it is very important to have boundaries in friendships and relationships. So for example, even if you're not a Christian and you're not a partier, you don't like the way it makes you feel, you're really uncomfortable, but you just go because of the pressure that's there, set that boundary. Tell yourself and tell them that I will not be going with you guys on those Friday nights. This is not who I am. This is not what I want to be. I'm just going to set this boundary, and Friday nights, I'm not going with you guys. Or maybe you're even realizing that you are falling away from God, and you're like, man, like I'm really not where I used to be or where I want to be, and here I am doing all these things I never thought I would do. Then I would maybe suggest taking a step back from the friend group. And I don't mean completely ghosting them or anything like that. That's a little extreme, but just limiting it, not seeing them every day, and most importantly, spending more time with God. Because chances are, if these things are happening to you, you're probably not spending a whole lot of time with God. And I promise I'm not trying to be judgy or preachy, because I need to do so much better with spending time with God. But just if you find yourself falling away, losing interest, I would say number one thing is get back with God. Try to do that every single day, and maybe take a little step back from this group. And one of my last points that I want to make is one that hopefully most people know by now, and that is quality over quantity. I don't know what that noise was. That was terrifying. But you know what the cliche is, especially if you're in middle school or high school. It's like, man, you want to be popular, you want to have the most number of friends and all of that. And once you graduate, you'll realize that none of that stuff really matters. And even in school, I never really chased that. I had a very small circle in school, and I was happy that way, because I knew for the most part that those people actually did care for me and love me and want the best for me. I didn't have to deal with all the fake friendships and all of that drama. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily a bad thing to have a lot of friends. I would just say be careful with whom you let into your life and how much of your life you let them see, because people will try to take advantage of you. Be careful. But to wrap up that point, at the end of the day, I would rather have just one good true friend that actually is there for me than 30 fake friends, because none of them really care for you like that. I really hope you guys can't hear that air conditioner. It sounds super loud to me, and I'm worried that my phone is picking it up, but you know, it is what it is. But you might be wondering, like, homie, where do I find these people? That's a good question. It's one that I don't have a complete answer to, but I can try and help maybe. I would say the places that you spend the most time. For me, I work at Target. I've found some really solid friendships there. Ones that I kind of know who to kind of get a little closer with, and maybe people to avoid. But I would say the places that you spend the most time, that's where you're going to connect with people the most. And I would say that you're bound to find at least one person wherever you're spending the most time that, like, you know, that you would enjoy and become a good friend with. Other ways to find friends, I would say utilize the internet, my friend. The future is here, whether that be playing video games. I can remember growing up when I would used to play with complete strangers and have a really nice bond with somebody else that I had never even seen their face. But I've heard stories of people becoming really good friends with people on like online communities, where they're really like a subreddit or anything like that. But if you do have trust issues, I just challenge you to not give up on humanity, because it could be a really thing to do. Be like, I'm so sick of people, and just show it away. I challenge you not to do that. I promise you there are some good people out there, people that will be your friend and actually care for you. Relationships take work. Relationships take you socializing and stepping out of your comfort zone. And not everyone that you meet is going to be the perfect fit. There are going to be ones where you're like, I thought we were kind of vibing, but maybe not. But at the end of the day, having a healthy and loving circle around you is a beautiful thing.